Reporter Room investigators, happy Mother's Day to all of our moms out there. Happy Mother's Day to you. I hope you're having a wonderful day. Today, we're going to be talking about the Sebastian Rogers case. So much stuff has been going on. So my name is Jessica Della Davies. I'm an investigative journalist, and my job is to investigate crimes, crime scenes, and potential suspects, and share with you how to do the same thing. If you haven't subscribed, please do. Let me get that. Like, share on your socials, and leave a comment, and know that everything I'm sharing is my opinion, and opinions are not facts. So come on in. We have a lot of stuff to talk about in this case. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 packages, 10 with the video that I have done. Whew. We have a really good show planned. So I'm also going to be doing a giveaway as we get to the 40,000 subscriber count, and I'm going to be announcing that in the next day or two. Let me know in the comment section under this video if you think I should do money, like cash money, like through giving it to somebody through like a Venmo or something like that, or do you think somebody who the winner would prefer an Amazon gift card? Let me know what you think. So we're going to be talking about Tony Mathis. We're going to talk about Doggate, this dog handler. We're going to talk about Chris Proudfoot and Tony's clap back to the Chris Proudfoot. We have new information from the private investigators. So a lot of stuff to dig into. So come on in. I just want to say hello to chat. Okay. So let me say hello. Come on in, guys. Tell me where you're from. Don't forget to wish everybody happy Mother's Day. Please hit the thumbs up button on your way in. This is our special Mother's Day edition for all of our moms out there. Happy Mother's Day. And good to see you, Mike. Ding, ding. Yeah. Come and take a seat and enjoy. Hi, Cecilia. Welcome. Juno says she would rather have a gift card. Yeah, let me know if you think a gift card or money would be better once we get the 40,000 mark. Hey, Perry, come on in, guys. We have so much stuff to get into. Yeah, it's going to be a really good show today. Whew. Let's give everybody a second to come in. Hi, Kay. Happy Mother's Day to you. Yay, to all our moms out there. Happy Mother's Day. Hi, Juno. Hi, Phil. Watching all the way from Ireland. Wow. So is it Mother's Day only in the United States? I know Canada has a different day. If you're in a different country, do you also have a different Mother's Day there? Hi, Sarah. Hi, Angie. Spencer, New York. Oh, that's great. Hey, Darlene. So come on in, guys. I want to see who's all here. Julia's here. Mike is here. Safari is here. Happy Mother's Day to you too, Safari. Oh, that's my alarm to remind you that I'm going to be going live on the Riley strain case right after this. Hi, Kay. Kay's here from El Dorado Springs. Is that Montana? Wow. Hey, Mama. Going to be driving and listening. Well, just be careful. Hi, Jesus Loves Me. This is one of our head mods. This is NJazz. Hi, Sarah, all the way from Eugene, Oregon. Wow, it's so great to have you. Come on in, guys. We have so much to unpack on this case today. Hi, Mama Bear. Rebecca says, I'm Rebecca from Orange County, California. Welcome. So we have California in the house. Hi, Sonia. Happy Mother's Day, Angie. On the Rocks, happy Mother's Day to you. I'm sorry that your mom's in heaven, but I hope that you can come here and be part of our Reporter Room community, and just know that we're here with you today. Hi, Julie. Marsha's here. Absolutely love your show. It's represented so professionally. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Marsha. You totally made my day. Welcome, Anne. Welcome, the Canadian Cat Lady. Happy Mother's Day to all the moms. Brother Mike says Happy Mother's Day, and he wonders if Katie Proudfoot is having a Mother's Day. I don't know. I would imagine that today would be very hard. And Jeff says Happy Mother's Day. Mike says we had ours earlier near Easter. Oh, okay. So different days for different countries. I know. Hi, Cal Gal. Happy Mother's Day on the rocks. Phil said not Mother's Day in Ireland. Thanks for that. Hi, Jamie. Oh, you did. Welcome. Glad you're here. Glad you joined. Perry Lynn is here. Happy Mother's Day. All right. So Watermelon Splash is watching all the way from the Netherlands. Wow. And Diana's wishing everybody happy Mother's Day. Laylo is too. Kind Heart. Are you a mother? That includes pets. I am a mother. Yes. Hi, Kay. All right, guys. Well, I hope I haven't missed anybody to say hello. If I have, drop me a comment so I can get you on the next. Because I'm going to be going. We're going to talk about stuff, and then we're going to come back to chat. We're going to talk about stuff, and then we're going to come back to chat. So we're going to be talking about this together. But let's get started.
Sebastian, he is.
Like to say to whoever has my children that they please.
We just hope that he
Functioning autistic.
happy and alive.
Wherever you are, just know that we are not going to stop.
This is Reporter Room with Jessica Della Davies.
And as you can see there, I just want to tell you, I really am a journalist. I know people can buy the blue check mark, but I was actually verified on Twitter as a journalist before they started selling them. If you hover over my blue check mark, you can see I'm also verified on Facebook and Spoutable. So I just wanted to share that with you together on this whole thing in just a second. But I want to talk to you guys about, we're going to talk about Doggate. We have so much to unpack. All right, let me just take this down for a second because I want to grab, we have a lot of stuff to dig into. Okay, so let me grab this. All right. So this is from Justice Warriors. She's the former PI, and those of you that are following this case closely, you know that there was an audio leaked. I'm not playing that on my channel. But she said she had a something that she wanted to share on this. Let me, I just took it down. So sorry. All right, let's try this one more time. Okay, there's our man. All right. Now I got to open it so I can see it. Okay, so she said, I have been put in a very bad position that could affect my business and or my license if I do not speak up. As I have previously mentioned, I've worked cases in the past under the scope of podcaster. When I'm working as a podcaster, I have no obligation of confidentiality because I do not have a client. However, in this case, I do have a client, and therefore there is an obligation of confidentiality. So she's talking about Seth here, even though she's no longer working for Seth. He was her client at the time of that recording, which I will not be sharing. She said, I have an obligation of confidentiality, and I take that very seriously. She said, I have kept the audios close to the vest in this case and have been very cautious about what we have shared with the public. With that said, it needs to be understood that neither I, Chloe, Tracy, or anyone else who is under this obligation leaked that audio. It's my understanding that my client shared it with someone who leaked it. So Seth shared it with someone, and this other someone is the person that leaked it to the public. She says, it should be known that I didn't send it to my client. However, I did not send it. She didn't send it to her client because I was afraid it would create more chaos and distract further from finding Sebastian. However, my client made a request for the audio. One of the people I did share it with, and they didn't see a reason to withhold it from him. So somebody else shared it with Seth. Technically, as my client, he did have every right to have it. He's the only person that I and my team owe a duty of confidentiality. It should also be noted that my client called me last night and told me that I could share this information. I wasn't planning to, but given the amount of people accusing me of breach of confidentiality, it has become necessary. I will say it again. There was not a breach of confidentiality, and the leak did not come from our camp. Thanks and have a blessed day. Respectfully, Heather. Okay, so that was the first one. And then she updated that. So then we have the update. We have a lot to unpack. We have Doggate going on. Okay, so update. I now know who leaked the audio. I'm not going to say it publicly, but I'm relieved to know it wasn't anybody from Justice Warriors Investigations or my team. So, original post, it has been brought to my attention that a phone call between Chris Proudfoot and I was leaked to the internet. I do know who sent it. I'm very disappointed someone from my trusted group would send it to YouTube creators. This did not need to be leaked to the public. It's only going to cause more drama and hostility and further from finding Sebastian. There's nothing we can do now. It's out there. All I know is I didn't leak it. So basically what she's saying is she didn't leak it. She didn't leak it. But she knows who did leak it. Okay, so now we're going to talk about Doggate. Woo! All right, so we have someone going around apparently inserting themselves into this case as a dog handler. So is she a dog handler or not? Well, I will leave it for you guys to decide. Let me grab this one. Okay. This is from SF investigator Steve Fisher. Now, he is going to be the private investigator in the Riley Strain case, but he is not the private investigator from this case. That is Chloe. Okay. But he weighed in. He said, I was just listening to a canine handler on YouTube. She's been making the rounds lately, pretending to be a DOD handler and having the DOD's canines, which are military property and only trained at one Army facility, make fun of body cam footage and the actual SAR canine handler. She said it was the worst handling she'd ever seen. Yet the canine handlers have credentials, including being with FEMA, the National Standards Task Force, which created the FEMA Urban Search and Rescue Program, and was a member of the NASCAR and ASTM National SAR Dog Standards Working Group. But her and protection dog, which is not from the DOD, but a retired prison dog, are telling thousands that an actual SAR trained canine and handler don't know what they are doing. So what's going on here? Let me grab the next one as it gets better or worse, depending on how you're thinking about this. Okay, so Steve Fisher continues. I can say as a member of the SAR teams that law enforcement affiliated in California and every other SAR team dog I've ever spoken with will not allow bite work trained canines. Think about the consequences. You have a scared or injured subject that is scared of dogs. And we know from doing the research that we did on autistic kids that it's more difficult to search for them. So he points out we have a scared or injured subject that is scared of a dog and runs or swings at a dog in fear that would trigger an apprehension dog. And SAR dogs are not cross-trained in medications. I'm watching my words. They are not. FEMA will not certify bite work canines. These screenshots are from the California Governor's Office of Emergency Services, Law Enforcement Mutual Aid Guidelines for Search and Rescue canines. The whole DOD handler thing is a very different issue. My question there is, did she train the 341st Training Squadron? Because if not, then something is clearly off. Well, he's right. I'm going to show you receipts in just a second. And then we're going to talk about Chris Proudfoot and his latest stuff too. in just a second, so please stay with me. So I also know for a fact that TBI didn't clear her. They say as long as nobody trespassed, it was fine with them. No laws were broken, but that's different than clearing someone. And who are the certifying agencies for these canines and for what? Hopefully Jules can clear this up if she's going on her show. I know more than a few of us are actually on the SAR teams and train RA off to getting sick of the disaster that's happening right now. And he shows his receipts. The definition of an air scent area search dog is used to search in a specific area. It's not expected an area search dog. So, oh my dog will require, but wait, because I'm going to show you a second. And it says he's got highlighted right here. Law enforcement canines are usually apprehension trained. These canines are not currently supported in the SAR mutual aid guidelines. They can be obtained through law enforcement aid channels. But wait, it gets better, because then, let me grab this one. Oh my dog. Oh my dog. Okay, so then Christina Ray weighs in and she says, quote, she said on a live the other night that her husband was 60 and this is the photo of her husband supposedly, but she stole those photos off of a website I'm fixing to share. Okay, so this is her showing on a I'm not going to say who the content creator is because you don't know. You're just, you're talking to a dog handler. You don't know everybody that you're talking to and everything that they're getting up to. So this is not any shade or anything negative toward any content creator who had her on. But look at this. Okay, so let's dig into that. I clicked the link. Okay. All right. And you guys see this one? Okay, so this is Behind the Badge. This is the website she's talking about. Okay, so this is coming from Christina Rain. And just wait, I showed you the photograph, right? A few minutes ago. Okay, so is that the same photograph that she's claiming is her husband with the dog? Because this is OSC Reserve Deputy Josh Ag trying to get his reluctant canine Remney to use the spinning blades of the search and rescue helicopters as the bloodhound has second thoughts. The photo is by Steve George, Behind the Badge. And that's the photo that she claimed in the live stream was her husband. Does that look like the same photo to you? Let me show it. Let me scroll down. And you guys can decide. Is that the same photo? Is that the same one as the one she's claiming is her husband? Because that to me looks like the same photograph that she's sharing that she claimed was her husband. So again, this is OCSD Reserve Deputy Josh Asagag trying to get his reluctant canine Remney to use the spinning blades of the search and rescue helicopter as the bloodhound has second thoughts. The photo is by Stephen George, Behind the Badge. I just want to show you the website, show you the receipts. This is from Behind the Badge. And you can see all the pictures with this dog handler and the dog. But she shared that one saying it was her husband. She shared this one. I don't know, you guys. I don't know. I just feel like this is not a good look. Not a good look at all. We're going to talk about scent dogs and all that stuff, but I want to talk a little bit about what's going on. My job is to investigate crimes, crime scenes, and potential suspects. All right, so Tony has spoken out. Spokesperson for Seth Rogers, Tony Mathis, has come out swinging. Listen to this.
Job, but there's no protection anymore. If you guys want to go all in on him, you do what you want to do, because there is no partnership anymore. It's over. It's done. That Chris Proudfoot had with one of our PIs, and that phone call was recorded. It was shared within a few members of our team, and somehow or another it got out, and it was not released by either one of our PIs. Let me be very clear on that. It was not released by me, obviously, because it destroyed everything that I'd been working to build. But what happened is, you guys remember, I'm sure, that web sleuth interview where it turned into a train wreck, and Chris was on there, Chloe, the PI, was on there. He was attacking her. She talked about, some documents that she hadn't released. Chris got mad about that. He was on the phone with Heather, our PI, and he was calling Chloe everything but a white woman. And I mean, he was disgusting towards her. He threatened Seth on that phone call.
And he really was. I feel, whatever feelings that you have about Chris Proudfoot going into this, I wondered, was he what were the neighbors telling the truth? Were they exaggerating? But I feel like Tony Mathis has decided, in light of Chris Proudfoot's statements that were recorded, I'm not playing them. I didn't play them, but they're certainly available. But to me, they're beyond the pale. They're triggering. But in my opinion, Chris Proudfoot has shown himself to not be a good person. The way that he talks about women, and I thought he was really awful during the Web Sleuth live one that I played on my channel. But this one was beyond the pale. It was worse. And after listening to that recording and the private investigators that recorded that call, after they, shared how it got out, which they shared it with, somebody shared it with Seth, who shared it with someone, and they leaked it. So we're going to talk more about the alleged fake dog handler in just a second, because there are people inserting themselves into the case. But I do think that the way that Chris Proudfoot has been handling this is not good. The way that he spoke to Chloe and Trish on Web Sleuth Live, and all Trish is trying to do is get the case out there. Her channel is not monetized. She's not making a dime from this. And he referred to her in a very derogatory fashion on this phone call that I'm not going to play, using web and the S, but used it in a really awful way. Because with somebody like Chris, nobody's allowed to have boundaries. I feel like he, bullies women and children, and how he was talking to the private investigators. And now that we've heard these accounts from neighbors saying that he was spraying Sebastian with a power sprayer and calling him the R word, I feel more convinced than ever that this was true. And I'm just wondering if Sebastian heard that Chris was coming home and decided, got upset and ran out the door. And, I don't think it was planned, because I don't think he would have run out the door with bare feet and without a coat on that night. But the other thing that I think is really interesting is Chris seems to be operating under a delusion that law enforcement is going to somehow come in and help him take on the private investigators or take on content creators or something like that. I don't think so. They don't work for Chris Proudfoot. To me, in my opinion, this is all just my opinion. If I think this is just more of delusions of grandeur and narcissistic entitlement, bluster, nonsense. And if I were Chloe, and Seth, I would get a restraining order against this guy. I am horribly concerned for what happened to Sebastian in light of everything that we learned about Nina Gomez. I hope that Nina makes sure that the judge hears this recording that was played on multiple YouTube channels. And if the judge does decide to award faith to this man, I feel like as mothers on Mother's Day, we need to speak up, because we cannot stand by and let another Harmony Montgomery situation go on. I'm not saying he would do that to Faith, but I don't know what he's capable of. I really don't. And again, this is just my opinion. Let me know. Watch your words though, guys. So let's play Tony. He is really all in on this. And I just feel like this guy he's a big bully. That's what I think.
And it's just been too much. I mean, calling and pranking people while there's a child that's missing, and then acting like just essentially making fun of an autistic child. I mean, it's just.
And this has been reported out by neighbors, not just Tony Mathis. This is Tony Mathis, the spokesperson. This has been reported out by neighbors. Neighbors have come forward to say, I wondered why we didn't have any neighbors come out and say, you know what, they're such good parents. Usually you have people say, I can't believe this happened. They're such good people. I just can't imagine that they would do something like this. Well, here we are. Here we are. Not one neighbor, not a single neighbor has come out to say one good thing about Chris and Katie Proudfoot. Not one nice thing. Instead, we're hearing the opposite. We have neighbors coming forward saying that he was spraying Sebastian with a power hose. I'm sorry, that stings. That's not nice. That's awful behavior. He was told Katie to come get her R, using the R word to describe a special needs. So I can understand from Sebastian's point of view why he might be upset, why he just might be upset at the idea of Chris Proudfoot coming back. I am really concerned. And it sounds like Tony Mathis, who's the spokesperson, is concerned also.
One thing after the next, after the next, after the next, and there's just not, there's not any more, there's no more partnership, and there's not going to be. It's, we're going to do our thing with Seth, and they can do their thing.
And this is what I feel about that partnership. Chris and Katie Proudfoot didn't go to that prayer vigil, right? The prayer vigil that was held last month. They didn't go, but we got these photographs, which I think Chris approached Seth in the middle of the prayer vigil. I think this was a publicity stunt, to a reputation building, because we know Chris had this hearing with Faith, right? About trying to get Faith, trying to see Faith, trying to get visitation with Faith. We know he had this hearing about Faith. And I think this was all about reputation building. So this was about him saying, yeah, we want to come together and work together, but nothing about Chris and Katie Proudfoot's behavior since then has done anything. In fact, it's the opposite. It's the opposite. The way that Chris has come on pretending and talking like Billy Bob Thornton to punk content creators when there's a missing special needs. What? But you're going to tell me that you're going to call yourself the dad? I'm the father? No, I'm sorry. You're not. You're nobody's father. You're nobody's father. You're the kind of dad that when Father's Day comes around, none of your kids are going to wish you happy Father's Day. Not one. Because that is just beyond the pale. Let's continue on together, shall we? Let's continue on, because there's like so much to unpack here.
If they want to shoot arrows, then that's fine, but we're not going to sit here and take arrows anymore and not shoot them back. We've had it. We're done. Seth's done. I checked with him 3 times today to make sure that this is where he was at, and this is 100% where he's at, and we're not going back. So it's over with that whole partnership.
Chris, so it's over with that whole partnership. You heard it from the horse's mouth. Now, Chris Proudfoot won't even let people come and dog handlers come onto the property to search. This is what he says. This is Chris Proudfoot to Seth. He says, Seth and Associates, I have had time to consider. I'm sorry, but no. I have had time to consider this dog handler matter, and the requests that you've mentioned as well. My answers are as follows. 1, dog handler. If you wish to use a dog handler to search, it's fine. However, after talking with law enforcement agencies and Katie, the dog handler and anyone else is being denied access to our house and property. Now, Katie's not working. She's not working. She's not going to the school. Why can't she meet Seth's team at the house and work with the dog handlers? There's no reason in the world that Katie cannot come forward and do something about this. Absolutely none at all. No reason. So, I mean, just his tone. He's just, So any form of permission to set foot on our property, as well as any other family member's property, is being denied as well. Why? Don't you want to find Sebastian? This is our official statement, and we ask that our wishes and privacy be respected at this time. Thank you for understanding. Proudfoot. Then he addresses Tony Mathis. While they search, if they feel, and he says, Tony Mathis, I'm still looking into this and have no answer for you at this time. We've spoken to Mr. Mathis and are considering it with each other as well as law enforcement. If you have any questions, let me know. V/R, I don't even know what that is, Chris and Katie. But just completely not helping in any way, sir. Say anyway, they're too busy shopping for their Harley Davidson bikes. Right? They're busy. They have more important priorities, right? They're busy. So this is the content creator who said that this was her husband. Okay. And then this is the photograph that I found from behindthebadge.com. Same guy. This is my husband. I'm a dog handler. And then this is from Behind the Badge. So not really true. So, you know what, Chris? I think this is beyond gaslighting, what Chris has been doing with that phone conversation, the way he pranks. He thinks it's funny to prank content creators. It's beyond manipulation. That recorded phone call that was released and played on other people, his behavior, his degradation of human beings, the name calling that he does, that especially toward women, using the B word and the C word. This behavior is despicable. And I'm now fully convinced that he did call Sebastian the R word. I wasn't sure. I wanted to give him the benefit of the doubt, but after hearing that recording, I now know why none of the neighbors, not one single neighbor, not one, has come forward to have anything nice to say about Chris and Katie Proudfoot, because there isn't anything nice to say, in my opinion. So do you think he's capable of doing something to Sebastian to get him out of the way, to get custody of Faith? I think we seriously need to reconsider this timeline that we've been given, that they came home, after the colossal popcorn eating at the Texas Roadhouse, and that she saw Sebastian at 9 o'clock, and at 10 p.m. she heard a thud. Because I don't know what to think about this timeline now. I don't know if it's true or if it's total BS. Now, private investigator Chloe said that Chris Proudfoot was at work at 5:15 a.m. on the morning that Sebastian was reported missing by Katie. But we've also heard from neighbors that Katie wasn't searching for as long as she says she was. They said she was searching for about 8 minutes. And, and I've been like sitting here this whole time wondering if Katie was a victim or not. Well, I don't feel like she is. I heard her in the background of that recording egging Chris Proudfoot on. She wasn't saying stop it. She wasn't saying this is too much. She wasn't saying please don't bash the father of my son. Please don't do. She didn't say anything like that. Not one word to call this man out. We have a lot more to dig into. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 other packages to share with you guys. Let me say hello to chat. Mama Bear says, I feel like Sebastian is never going to be found. I hope he is. I hope so. She said it's turned into a circus and lost sight of the end goal. Well, I think we do have people inserting themselves into the case, which that does happen. So Sarah Adams says Katie should face the most outrage. It was under her watch. She is as quiet as a church mouse. Yeah. Why doesn't Katie just meet the dog handlers from Q and just help them search? Instead, she and Chris are out shopping for motorcycles. Are they expecting to come into some money? Like where, That cuts your skin. Yeah, some of the power washer. Yeah, it stings. It stings. Laura says, I heard KT was possible. I don't know. I haven't heard that, but Sharon says, I don't know how Chris Proudfoot gets off running on his mouth when it's all true. He proves it every time he speaks. Yeah, I agree. Chloe just said the neighbors have been bullied. More have talked, but they don't want to go on the record. Yeah. And who can blame them? Who can blame them? But you know what I haven't heard from any of these neighbors or anybody is I haven't heard anybody come out and say, I know there's, a lot of vitriol toward Katie, but I just can't believe that she would have any. I haven't heard anybody say that. Darlene says that's not correct. She's a fraud. It has been proven to be fake. That's correct. You're talking about the dog handler. Please hit the thumbs up button. Thank you so much. And consider joining our family and subscribing. Happy Mother's Day. If you're just joining me, Grunstruck says Grunstruck feels like the mom didn't want to lose her man. Hey, Marys. Perry, Lynn agrees with Mama Bear. I held out home of a safe return, but too much time has passed. Annie says, Chris Proudfoot told us from the beginning how he threw away Sebastian's toys, personal items. He's never hidden his behavior. Guys, watch your words in the chat, okay? I want to share your comments, but it's certain words I can't share. Sharon says, dog handlers need escorts in addition. Yeah. So it's like we've been hearing all these, rumors that people were being, didn't want to continue on searching because they were, scared. They were getting threats. They were concerned about their safety. And we were like, oh, no, that couldn't be happening. Well, if you heard this phone call and heard the vitriol that was coming out of this person's mouth, then, I can understand why they would be concerned for their safety. Chris Proudfoot and Katie Proudfoot don't cooperate with others. No, they don't play nice with other people. I mean, this is the father, no matter what, even if you have had whatever problems you've had, this is for Sebastian. And the fact that Chris Proudfoot approached him when he knew he would be picked up on cameras, that was at that prayer vigil to work together, right? To work together. And then Seth is like, we're going to work together. And I don't care what you guys think. I feel like Seth gave it a good try. But what happened when that photograph from North Carolina of the purported Sebastian turned up? Seth got in the car and went to North Carolina. Chris Proudfoot posted and then retracted it that he didn't think it was Sebastian. How did he know? Sarah says, well, he does. Guys, watch your words in here, please. Leslie says, I just want him found. I don't trust anyone in the Proudfoot family. I don't want to impugn the whole family at all, but I just do feel like I'm going to just speak out on this person. He's not a dad. Sharon says, I pray Sebastian does not turn into Summer 2.0. Yeah, I know. I feel the same way. Sharon says, props for the dog handlers for their bravery, but the fact that they have concerns for the dogs. Yeah. Darlene says, that is her husband. The other guy is that is her husband. The other guy is her stepson. Are you talking about Katie? Chris is her husband. And then I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm not sure I understand your comment. Darlene, if you want to clarify. Thornblade says cops can get a warrant for a search. Leslie says, Chris and Katie Proudfoot are hiding something big. We can all see it. Katie says, why on earth would they? Either Katie or Chris. I don't know about that. I'm not saying that's what happened. What I'm thinking, my theory on this, I'm not saying that. My theory on this is that there was stuff going on in the house. There was stuff that would have made Sebastian feel uncomfortable. What he reported to his teacher and the reason that CPS came out to the house, and they should have done a better job on this. They failed Harmony Montgomery. And if what Chris Proudfoot says is true, and I don't know if it is, he could just be making that up. But if it's true, and CPS said to Sebastian, don't you report false claims or you're going to get in trouble. If that happened, whoever did that should be removed from their job, because I do believe that when Sebastian maybe heard on the phone call with Chris and Katie that this man was coming back into his house, that would have sent him out the door. It would have thrown him into a tailspin. He was already all wound up from being out and about on the best day ever. And then did he overhear something? Did he overhear that this man was coming back into the house? Let's talk about scent dogs for a second, and then we're going to come back to Chris Proudfoot. So I'm not done. I'm not done with Chris Proudfoot. But I do want to talk about scent dogs. So I hope I did show you guys that she did probably just insert herself into the case. This does happen in these type of cases, but I just wanted to go over how search and rescue dogs work, because not all SAR dogs perform the same type of searches. Some are tracking or trailing dogs, and others are air scent or area search dogs. And these type of dogs can overlap, but the distinction between the two guides are the training process and how dogs participate in missions. So, this Stephanie claimed that her dog had all this training. Does he? Because the photo was fake. So, can we believe anything that she says? So tracking dogs work with their noses to the ground. They can follow a trail of human scent, typically heavy skin particles that fall quickly to the ground or onto bushes through any type of terrain. So while we're going through terrain, our skin particles just slough off. These dogs are not searching, they're following. So the tracking dog needs the last seen starting point and an article of the person's scent to work from and an uncontaminated trail. So this is why Katie needs to come back and meet the search dogs to provide an article that Sebastian wore. For a tracking dog, it's an issue if a child disappears from a school playground or an inmate escapes from prison. A tracking dog can be called in to follow the person's scent immediately after the disappearance, before other search groups and law enforcement personnel contaminate the scent trail. Okay, so that's tracking dogs. Now, air scent dogs, on the other hand, work with their noses focused toward the air. So tracking dogs toward the ground, air scent dogs toward the air. They pick up human scent anywhere in the vicinity. They don't need a last seen starting point. Sorry, I'm getting over a chest infection. Let me grab a sip of water. Whereas tracking dogs follow a particular scent trail, air scent dogs pick up a smell carried in the air currents and seek out its origin, the point of the greatest concentration. So those are the two different types of dogs. And then air scent dogs further can become specialized. Cadaver dogs, these dogs search specifically for the scent of humans. So they're going to be looking for decomp gases. They can locate as small as a human tooth or a single drop of blood. That's how good they are. Water rescue dogs search for drowning victims when somebody's underwater. They can't always pinpoint the exact location of the person. Instead, one or more of the SAR team searches in the area, and the divers use each dog's talent point along with water current analysis to estimate where the person is. Avalanche dogs. These highly trained dogs search for human scent after someone's been buried beneath the snow. Urban disaster dogs. Now, these are the most difficult SAR specialty dogs, and they're handled in some kind of disaster, like maybe the hurricane in New Orleans. And then we have wilderness. These dogs detect human scent in the search for people who are lost in the wild. This would be very helpful for Sebastian, because I do think he is in the woods out there somewhere. And then evidence and article dogs are trained to find items that have a human scent on them. So I do think did want to talk about the dogs, because I do think it's important to just know what the differences are and a little bit about them, and it'll keep us from getting punked in the future, because information is power. So let me go back to this. I thought it was too triggering. I didn't want to share it, but in hearing the recording, I just wanted to give you my take on it. I think that it's disturbing. I think that Chris Proudfoot is disturbing. I came into this thinking that Chris Proudfoot probably didn't have a lot to do with this. I mean, we've heard from Chloe, the PI hired by Seth, that he had an alibi at 5:15 a.m. But in hearing how he talks, I feel like Chris Proudfoot is a bully. I believe he is a coward. This is my opinion. And this, after hearing this recorded phone call that was accidental. Okay, so I just want to, right there. Right there. All right, let me check in with chat because I have more to share. I still have 1, 2, 3 more packages to go through. And Pam Davidson gifted 5 reporter room memberships. Wow, Pam, thank you so much for that. So 5 people. Now she doesn't get to pick the 5 people. YouTube will give her a list of the 5 most engaged people that will get the gifted membership. So thank you so much for that, Pam. We have 5 lucky people who are going to be getting channel memberships. And I'm going to be doing a members only live stream after the Riley strain. So we're going to do this video. And then when I finish it, I'm going to go right into the Riley strain video after that, because we have some updates on that case. I promise to keep you guys abreast of it. The family's hired a lawyer, the toxicology information, lots of good stuff on that. So let's check in with chat and see where you guys are. Unique Boutique says Steph is fake. She's not a dog handler, not married to law enforcement. She got on all these channels and lied. This has to be proven and verified. This has been proven and verified. She is fake. Allegedly. I have to say allegedly, but everything the chat and I are sharing is our opinion. And Jazz says, please give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't joined the Reporter Room family, consider subscribing. It's free and it helps me out a lot. Bigger says, according to Seth's last proof of life is Texas Roadhouse on February 25th. He could not be verified putting the trash, that it could not be verified that that was Sebastian. That's true. Seth did not verify that. He said it could have been anyone taking out the trash. Hey, Tara. Tara says, these types of cases rip my heart out. Marcia says, Chris and Katie gave us their timeline. They had hours to make up their story. Lisa Pin says, I hope Nina is collecting these calls. The last thing those two need, is faith. I agree. Brother Mike says, Nina, he's talking about Nina Gomez, who is Chris Proudfoot's ex, is terrified of Chris Proudfoot. Well, after listening to that recorded call, I mean, gosh, I can understand why. I was like, I wasn't sure, and I took everything she said because, when you're talking about ex-spouses, people can say things, right? They can, make it sound worse than it is. But after hearing that phone call that was released by a friend of Seth's or a colleague of Seth's to certain content creators, and after listening to that for myself, I have a whole nother take on Chris Proudfoot. I already was starting to feel like this was not the person he pretended to be in the Nancy Grace interviews. When I saw him on Web Sleuth Live, how he talked to Chloe and how he talked to Trish, when all Trish from Web Sleuth Live was trying to do was help find Sebastian. She's not monetized. She's just trying to help. Chloe, the private investigators, are just trying to help. You know who's not helping? This guy is not helping. He's not searching. He's not posting flyers. Katie's not searching. I haven't seen Katie post any flyers. But I saw images of them shopping for motorcycles. Where are they getting the money for the bikes? Where are the money from? Where is this money for these bikes? Are they expecting some kind of insurance payout? Where are they getting money while they have a missing autistic special needs young little man? Where are they getting money for motorcycles, you guys? It just does not pass the smell test, in my opinion. And he says, I don't understand what is allowed to be said here. Yeah, I just watch your trigger words. That's all. Don't you notice there's certain words I don't use? I don't use the K word. I don't use the M word. I don't use the R word. Just don't use those words either. That's all I'm saying. It's not directed at anybody. If I had your comment up while I said it, Annie, I'm sorry. It doesn't mean I'm talking to you directly, but it probably would have felt like that. Yeah, welcome to our new channel members. Lana says, having a runaway, they won't give her to them. Yeah, and it just makes me wonder, Lana, why he ran away, right? We were all, Peter Hyatt said he felt like, Peter Hyatt's a statement analyst. He trains law enforcement. And he came out of the gate saying that he felt like they were hiding something, that he didn't think that they did anything to Sebastian, but that they knew why he ran away. And maybe it was just a matter of just locking the door behind him or not. He said he was running out the door and Chris saying something to Katie. And again, this is just speculation on my part, but going off of what Peter Hyatt said, but did Chris Proudfoot said, we'll just let him have his lumps. Let him just take his lumps. Let him learn. Sunshine says, why was Bowersock's car at the convenience store at 5:45 a.m. in the morning of the disappearance? Same morning Sebastian went missing. Is this true? I don't know if that's true or not true. I have not heard anything about that. So I cannot verify. Would have no way to know. Law enforcement would know it's true. Hey, Tammy, welcome from Arizona. Sharon says, I can't wait until they post taped interview with whomever is responsible. Okay. Mary says, all her details and examples are a repetition of other legit dog handlers. Yeah. Yeah, that was definitely somebody. And we've seen this in the Chris Watts case too. Remember, Trent came forward saying that he had some kind of an affair with Chris Watts, and it wasn't true. And, FBI was able to figure that out pretty quickly. But yeah, we've seen people insert themselves into cases. This does happen. Lisa says, I don't blame Nina for being afraid. He's a wingnut. Yeah. Wingnut's a great word. And Jess says, welcome everyone. Thank you so much for being here with us. If you don't know, Enjaz is our head mod along with Sixth Sense Amelia. Unique Boutique says the only legit dog handler is Julia. She is credentialed and highly trained. The other person, Steph, is fake. Yeah, and there's other dog handlers too that have been, that were brought out. The United Cajun Navy and those guys, that are all legit. The only one that's not legit, in my opinion, is Steph. And the reason is that she, using that fake photograph and purporting that to be her husband makes it. And the fact, and just some of the things that a private investigator like Steve Fisher knows about dog handling, because he does this for a living, and his, red flags, make me wonder. But, to a layperson, if she had just reached out to me, and said she had searched and she had photographs, to a layperson, I could definitely see if, why, people were fooled by her. But what gave her away was some of the things that she said about the searching. It just didn't add up. It didn't add up with what we know about scent dogs. The fact that she didn't have an item to track from Sebastian to track him, right? So those kind of things weren't adding up. And then the fact that the picture ended up being fake, in my opinion. Happy Mother's Day, Jane. Happy Mother's Day, Tammy. Happy Mother's Day, and Jazz. So Marcia says, I'm hoping law enforcement will not give up on Sebastian, praying they found evidence that they need for justice to be served. I hope so too. I hope they're taking note of all of this. And the fact that this man thinks that law enforcement's going to intercede on his behalf with content creators is laughable. Is laughable, because they're hearing all of this too. And they're getting the same 4 alarm fires that the rest of us are getting on this guy, in my opinion. He gives, everybody the creeps. Now that we've heard him. Oh, you're welcome, Laura. Calgal says, Sebastian deserved so much better. Meme says, I'm interested in Riley Strain updates. I'm going to do him right after. When we're done with this live, I'm going to go into a whole nother live stream on Riley. But we're not done here yet. I still have 1, 2, 3 packages to get through. Sheila says, I hope we keep Sebastian on the news. I live nearby and there isn't anything on the news and there's not a lot of signs around. Yeah, we're going to keep his name out there, you guys. And let me know for the giveaway. Canadian Cat Lady says, thank you so much for the gift. I really appreciate it. That's for the memberships. So Canadian Cat Lady is one of our new channel members. Welcome. SKRK Mom, to be perfectly clear, Katie Proudfoot and Chris Proudfoot have a lot of explaining to do. Where is Sebastian? And Tiffany's Blue says, there is no guarantee Sebastian ever came home that night after their dinner out. Bigger says, let Gator loose. Oh, well, we're not going to do that. But I know you're just joking. Sheila says, sometimes I feel like he's protecting her, but then again, if they're having issues in their marriage, I could see her tossing her under the bus and telling on her. Well, I think he can't. This is just my opinion. I think that Chris Proudfoot cannot throw Katie on the bus. I think he would. I think he would have, because he had that issue with Faith, that court hearing. So I think if he could have thrown Katie under the bus, he would have done it. But he can't, because he was on the other end of that phone call. So whatever was said, he's into it up to his eyeballs, in my opinion, also. Nina was on the spot. Yeah, Nina Gomez. I believe everything that Nina Gomez said now. Before I was like taking it with a pinch of salt. I don't know. I'm not sure. But after hearing the tape and the way that he sounds, I thought the way he sounded on Web Sleuths Live was big red flags. Because I thought, well, if this is how he sounds when he knows he's on camera, what does he sound like when he's off camera? Now we know. Now we know. Bigger says, thank you for the membership. The lab has it up on their channel, Ruby Slippers. I think other people have it too. I found it to be extremely triggering. Leslie says, I think Chris Proudfoot is playing with Katie Proudfoot. He has her number and maybe using this like a little puppet master. Linda says, in my opinion, TBI and law enforcement should be concerned on how they are being portrayed as in Chris Proudfoot's pocket, so to speak, by Chris Proudfoot. Yeah. If I were hearing this too, where he's, literally making, to me, sounded scary towards Seth. If I were Seth, I would be getting a RO. I would definitely get one. Shopping for motorcycles. Yep, that was their priority. And I think that whole thing where he showed up at the prayer vigil, that was a pre-planned publicity stunt, in my opinion. He never had any intention of working together with Seth. Just that what I showed you guys earlier, this little snotty, let me see, this. Let me get myself out of the way. This, I've had time to consider the dog handler matter and the other request you have mentioned as well. My answers are as follows. Dog handler, if you wish to use a dog handler to search, that is fine. However, after talking with law enforcement agencies and Katie, the dog handler, and anyone else is being denied. He puts that in all caps. Remember, we have a special needs missing, an autistic child missing. And anyone else is being, the dog handler, the dog, and anyone else is being denied access to our house and property. And if they want to say, well, we're not there, we're out of town, come back into town, Katie. You don't have a job. You're not working. You're not going to school. Get in your car and drive to your house and meet them there. If you really wanted to help. If you really wanted to help. But I'm not seeing any of that. So denied, big capital letters, just really rubbing it in. Now imagine you're Seth and you've gone to North Carolina, right? To see if this image is Sebastian. And it wasn't. And then you're getting this snotty thing. Denied. This is our official statement. And we ask that our wishes, he has we in capital, the royal we, that our wishes and privacy be respected at this time. Thank you for understanding. And then 2, and then he goes off on Tony Mathis. Two, Tony Mathis. I'm still looking into this and have no answer for you at this time. We have spoken to Mr. Mathis and are considering it with each other as well as law enforcement. Again, he's trying to use law enforcement to prop himself up. Law enforcement doesn't care if they want to get a spokesperson or not. If you have any questions, let me know. V/R, Chris and Katie. You just know. But she's egging them on. If you play that recording, she is egging him on in the background. She's not saying stop, be kind to the father, be kind to Seth. He's just, he's worried about Sebastian. Show some compassion. I don't see any of that from her. I don't see any of that from her. She's just chiming in. She's just chiming in. This guy. This guy. I think there are big red flags with this guy. And if I were law enforcement, I would be taking another long, hard look at the timeline that I was provided by this guy. I'm not saying he did anything, but I would want to rule him out. What was said on that phone conversation? I shared with you, how easy would it be to have your phone, right? You got your phone, turn it on, put it next to your TV, call Katie, let it play, drive. He knew exactly how it was door to door. Just a little over 3 hours, but he gave it down to the minutes, door to door. He sure had that time down for somebody who didn't come home for the whole month of February. And I was giving him the benefit of the doubt until I heard that recording. No, sirree, Bob. I think there is a big problem. I think Sebastian may have heard something on that phone call. Maybe Chris Proudfoot called him a name if he came into the room. Like, is he coming home? You could just see being scared to have this guy come back into your house if you were Sebastian. And you're being given away. Your mom's making the choice to choose Faith over Sebastian. So many secrets and lies, you guys. So many secrets and lies, in my opinion. Marcia says, something happened at 10. Katie called Chris. Chris called his friend at law enforcement to help. I don't think law enforcement would touch us with a 10-foot pole. But I do question the whole timeline. I question the whole timeline. Arlene says, Katie has been hiding in the camper and Chris has been running his mouth all over YouTube. Yeah, and if you were, where is she in all this? Not searching, not helping. She's going to accompany her husband, but she can't be bothered to drive back to the house for a day where she abandoned the house. What if Sebastian came back and knocked on the door and nobody was there? That's a narcissistic discard, in my opinion. Narcissistic people discard you in the most cruel and inhumane way possible. What would be the perfect way to discard Sebastian? Drive him out of the house or let him go out, lock the door behind him with bare feet, no coat, no phone, no key. Get back on the phone, right? And then if he tries to come back home, you're not there. Narcissists will discard people in the most cruel way possible. Yeah, the bloodhound handler, I don't, I'm not going to call her a fraud but I definitely think she used a fake photo and things in her story just aren't adding up. SRK9 mom says, don't use the words Chris Proudfoot uses. Yeah, that's the words I don't want anybody using. Don't come into and nobody is. We have a really classy chat. Just think about, that's what I was kind of worried about, because there's a reason I'm not sharing it with you guys. It's very, very triggering. Yes, it's horrible what they are doing. Tiffany's Blue wants to say, yeah, why would he run away? Exactly. Something sent him running out of the house that night. Something or someone sent Sebastian, in my opinion, running out of the house that night. And I just want to know, he said that Chris Proudfoot described Sebastian as stepping off the front porch. It almost feels like, did somebody see him on the front porch? Was somebody behind with that door and just lock it? Or say, don't come back. I don't care. Something like that. And then he left with bare feet, no coat in the cold in February. Bigger says fake dog handler area code. Don't do any. Comes from the same place as the Bowerstocks. Doesn't mean that she's associated. Lots of people live in that area code. SSD said the longer this case goes on, the crazier it gets. Yep. But I feel like we learned a lot. I feel like that recording, his appearance on Web Sleuths Live already just put up big red flag, just a giant red flag. Because I'm like, oh, I don't know. I'm not sure about this timeline now. I'm not sure about anything that this guy and Katie have said. I don't even know what to think. But after hearing the one that Seth's friend released, I think that was the smartest thing that they did, was release that. Because now we know, we can see Chris Proudfoot's true colors. We can see what he's really like when he's not on camera. He was awful on camera, but he's 1,000 times worse when he doesn't know he's being recorded. SRK9, this boy never ran away. Well, I don't know. We don't know, but I just think the timeline needs to be looked into again. I do. CalGal says anybody hindering the investigation into what happened to Sebastian is absolutely on the wrong side of the law. Arlene says, and Jazz, I don't believe that they talked for 3 hours either. They're both involved in Sebastian's disappearance. And Jazz says, please hit the like button on your way in. Yeah, please do that. Where is Sebastian? Happy Mother's Day. I'm glad you're here. Happy Mother's Day to all our moms out there. Wingnut. Yeah. That might be like too nice of a word. I don't know. What do you guys think? But don't use any words. Marsha says Chris and his family had nothing invested in Sebastian. Sebastian had to go one way or the other. Chris was getting ready for Faith to come and live with him and his, I don't know. I don't want to like impugn a whole family because of one guy. But I do have red flags. And I don't believe that timeline. I'm sorry. I just don't. What does it take for this to become a criminal case? Great question. At what point is law enforcement gonna say, you know what? We don't buy the timeline either. Like, they're not going to tell us. But what is it going to take? They need some kind of evidence. Sebastian, something like that. Arlene says, I don't understand why it's not a criminal case now. Welcome to everybody coming in. Sharon says, what about? I don't know what you're asking about there, Sharon. Sorry. Tina says, if you want to clarify that, Sharon, I'll be glad to take on your question. Mrs. Tina says, I pray nobody gave her money. She is not the dog handler that, I didn't even know she was asking for money. Happy Mother's Day, Arlene. Lisa says they obviously don't have enough evidence to make it criminal, but TBI was called in, so they do suspect. Claire says, what if Sebastian didn't run away? I don't know. I honestly don't know. I just don't believe this timeline anymore. I just don't believe the timeline. It just, to me, it stinks. The timeline just stinks. Sebastian, the R word. I wasn't sure before this, but after hearing how he talks, I feel like Chris Proudfoot is a bully. I believe he is a coward. This is my opinion. And this, after hearing this recorded phone call that was accidentally leaked, and I'm not playing it. After hearing this call, I believe that he was spraying Sebastian. I believe the neighbors. This gives more credibility to the neighbors saying that they heard him, Chris Proudfoot, calling Sebastian the R word. I wasn't sure before this, but after hearing this recorded phone conversation, I'm absolutely convinced that this did happen. The most ironic thing about Chris Proudfoot is that he seems to be under the delusion that law enforcement's going to come in and work on behalf of him toward content creators that he doesn't like. I don't think so. Law enforcement does not work for Chris Proudfoot. This is more delusions of grandeur and entitled nonsense that you see in typical narcissistic people. And I'm not diagnosing Chris as a narcissist. I'm using narcissist as a adjective. The way that he talks about other human beings and the name calling that he does is evil. It's beyond gaslighting. It's beyond manipulation. The way he talked about Trish on Web Sleuths Live was despicable. So I don't know if he had anything to do with what happened to Sebastian, but I can certainly see why Sebastian would not have felt safe living in that house with Chris Proudfoot. Do you think Sebastian ran away? Do you think something more nefarious happened to Sebastian? Is there a reason that Sebastian had the best day ever with Katie, visiting with family, eating a colossal popcorn, getting to have his favorite foods? Was he just overstimulated, or was there something nefarious being planned? What do you think? What do you think? Please tell me, what do you think? Was he just overstimulated? Should we believe the timeline? Should we believe anything that this person has told us? Should we believe anything that this person has told us? Or has he really shown his true colors? Is what the neighbors are saying correct? Because the neighbors say that they heard him calling Sebastian the R word, telling Katie to come get her R son. And Katie, did she defend Sebastian? It doesn't sound like it. This is really bad. This is really, really bad. We heard him degrading people, name calling, using the B word, using the C word, using the S word on Web Sleuth. He did a play on that. He thought he was I'm sure he thought he was really clever. But what he did was so awful, beyond the pale. So beyond the pale that I'm not going to share it on my channel. So the last thing we know about Sebastian is that he was at the Texas Roadhouse Grill or Texas Roadhouse restaurant. And after that, who knows? Who knows? Did Sebastian make it home? I don't know. Did Katie plan out the best day ever for a reason? I don't know. And for everyone who thought that Katie was just the put upon wife through coercive control, including me, I disagree. After hearing that recorded phone call, she was chiming in the background. She was actively egging Chris Proudfoot on. She wasn't trying in any way to stop what was being said. And it just makes me wonder what poor Sebastian was going through in his household. Was he the scapegoat? Was he the scapegoat for Katie and for Chris? Was Chris going after Sebastian, and Katie, instead of defending Sebastian, she's egging him on, like we heard in that phone call? So for everyone that thought maybe this was some type of coercive control, I'm not buying it anymore. I'm not buying Katie's act. I'm not buying Chris Proudfoot's act. I'm not buying their timeline. I think we need to go back to the beginning with a new timeline and just find out, where was Chris Proudfoot after Texas Roadhouse? Because it would be so easy to turn your phone on with a phone call to Katie and drive that 3 hours and drive back, because they were talking from 9 until midnight, supposedly, allegedly. All he would have to do is leave his phone behind at the camper, and he would still have time to drive back and plenty of time to be at work at 5:15 in the morning. Are you watching closely? So let me know in the comment section if you think people, because for the 40,000 subscribers, we're heading toward 40,000. I'm going to be giving away something, but I want to know what you guys, if you think people would rather win money or an Amazon gift card. What do you guys think that, or should I be giving away channel memberships? So, what do you think? To me, I feel like money, because then you can spend it wherever and however you want. But, somebody else might feel differently. Let me know what you think about all of this. And I'm going right into a Riley Strain video right after this, because we have updates on that case as well. And I do want to take this down for a second because I do want to say thank you to our producers, George Brown and Jazz Energy Shots, Angry Mons, Not So Saintly, and Sasha Angel. And a big thank you to all of our channel members. If you would like to have your name appear just like this in my videos and in my live streams, just hit the join button. It's next to the subscribe button. But if you can just subscribe, that would be awesome too. That would be a wonderful Mother's Day gift. That would be a wonderful Mother's Day gift. To pick up some subscribers would be helpful. We're trying to get to 40,000 subscribers. And we're getting really close. So thank you to all of our channel members. And I want to do a super stickers. Thanks for the last couple of weeks. Thank you so much and our gifted memberships, and Jazz and Pam Davidson. And Pam, I'll be making sure to do your name. Whoop. So I do want to thank everybody on this. And I do have a couple more packages to share on this case. So let me just grab this one. I'm going to take this down for a second. And I want to talk about Justice Warriors. So this is the original PI group. And she posted this just a few hours ago. She said, when I came into the Sebastian Rogers case, one of the things I did was get to work trying to get Q involved. We all remember Q, right? Seth registered his son with Q, and I put them in contact with the jurisdictional agency right away. Anyone who knows anything about Q knows that they have a high level of respect for law enforcement and that they will not do anything without their blessing. And anyone who knows Q knows that they are very well respected by law enforcement. They have massive resources and have helped to find thousands of people around the country. So tell me, why hasn't Sumner County Sheriff's Department given their blessing to them? Make it make sense. This is coming from Heather and Tracy from Justice Warriors. Make it make sense. And for those of you that don't know who Q is, let me pull that up for you guys. Okay. You guys see this? Yep. Okay. All right. So this is Q. And let's just go through a little bit, just a quick, just like who are they? Oh, maybe if I can get them to open. There it goes. Just a little slow. I have a lot of tabs open today. All right, here we go. So it's called Community United Effort. They're a Center for Missing Persons, a 501c3 tax-exempt nonprofit organization founded in Wilmington, North Carolina, serving missing persons nationwide. Since 1994, our center has provided advocacy for missing children and adults, free professional trained search personnel, and victim support services. To date, the Q Center has helped more than 12,000 families in what is often the most confusing and desperate times of their life. So they have their oath, which is, I offer myself to those who have nowhere to turn. These desperate people who ask for my help have unique situations, yet, however unique, they are bound together with the commonality of being the loved one of a missing person. So it's entirely staffed by volunteers. They fund by event fundraisers, small grants, corporate giving programs, and public donations. Again, it's a non-profit organization. And this is the founder. This is Monica Kaysen. She said she grew up in Florida, where her teen years were marked by a rebellious streak. At the age of 22, she garnered a felony for unknowingly passing checks that a friend had given her. The life-changing lapse in judgment and the events that followed instilled in Miss Miss Kaysen a desire to turn her life around and become a productive member of the community. Because Mrs. Kaysen has been exposed to the families of missing persons at least 3 times before she was 25, she decided to focus her attention on their plight and become a tireless advocate for missing persons and their loved ones. They also have a board of directors. So I think, there's a lot of people that I think would be willing to help. I think there's a lot of people who would be willing to help look for Sebastian. I don't know if when I cut out on that, did you guys see the Q stuff? Let me just check down. I know it glitched out there for a second. Does anyone know the name of the neurological medical condition Sebastian has? No, I just know that I think it's hydro, like water on the brain. I don't know what the technical word is. Marcia says, please keep covering Sebastian. We will. Daffy Dilda says, doesn't he have direct ties in law enforcement? I don't know, but they're not going to, not every law enforcement agency is working for Chris Proudfoot. If he does, in my opinion, he's, suffering from delusions of grandeur. But that's just my opinion. So I'm going to go right into the Riley Strain case next. So join me for that one. If you haven't subscribed, please consider joining our Reporter Room family. It's free and it helps me out a lot. All right, I'm ending this one and heading over for the Riley Strain right now.